Tippy time my damies, Topcat here and welcome back to the channel. This build has stronger heals than my voice sounds silly. Trust me, the only thing taking this kit down is your own stupidity or your very friendly fire team trying to troll ya. Since Edge of Fate launched, I've seen tons of Solar Titans out there running around with that Tommy's matchbook in hand, burning things to the ground, and whilst this looked like more fun than a free trip to Epstein Island, I still had a couple of qualms with the kit. My clanmates have sworn up and down that the Lorely Splendor was the way to go, as this would drop sunspots at our feet, avoiding ourselves from burning up too much. Which this is good, it will feed your restoration, but the Lorely isn't a seasonal piece, so we are missing out on that bonus damage resistance, and it kinda requires us to build into that class stat to constantly generate shield. I also saw a lot of you guys out there running both Eruption and Char to make those ignitions bigger. I tried this cocktail, whilst it worked fine in that -30 kind of bracket, I found it kind of faltered in the hardcore, not really offering us that survivability required to make the gun shine. It honestly wasn't until a couple of days ago that I thought back about one of those biodocs pre-Edge of Fate, when one of the chickies was talking about how they wanted Scorch to shine over the flashy ignitions, so that led me to take a slightly different route with this build's direction. So I've opted for the Precious Scars exotic helmet. Final blows with weapons that match our super damage, create a burst of healing around us, and grant allies restoration. This is granted to all allies within a 15-meter radius, and it's active for 3 seconds. This can be pushed out to 4.5 seconds when running Ember of Solace. I'm not going to be using this however, as I'm going to be focusing on chaining instead of extension. And whenever we revive an ally, or I'm down and I'm picked up off the floor, both ourselves and allies are granted a 100 HP overshield. This also regenerates 1 second flat as long as you haven't taken damage in the last 2 seconds, and this is active for 10 seconds. With this combination, it's going to allow us to constantly heal without having to rely on our ability to do so. This way we can hold that ignition trigger down, giving us quicker access to those Scorch stacks. This is vital to pair with that Radiant Retinal perk in the artifact. We deal sustained weapon damage whilst radiant, or by defeating a Scorch combatant with a weapon, and it's going to cause them to release a solo Firefly that deals damage and scorches on impact. Yes, we're still going to be rocking Fever and Chill so we can proc that Radiant by our rapid precision hits, but as we're going to be hip firing with our Tommies, I found it an easy way to get those Scorched Fireflies via the ignition trigger. Now this kit will be able to shine with any solar weapon. I would tend to run whatever the key champion type is that you're going to be facing. Overloads tend to be the most dangerous, so Tommy's is gold. But we've also got seasonal bonuses on the Polaris Lance for anti-barriers and Devil's Ruins for unstops. This way we can deal tons of Scorch damage whilst healing ourselves and teammates regardless of the chance we're dueling with. Now when it came to armor selection, I found that I was a little bit like a chickie trying on dresses. It was hard to find the right 2-piece, 4-piece. I had hoped the Dawning armor would have been solid, thanks to, all things solar healing and buffing your weapons, which don't get me wrong, it is a great option, but I do think it is the second best option. I actually preferred the new Disaster Corps Crucible gear instead. Although crucibly incentivized, it still works in PvE with great functionality when we reload our Tommies, or our Lance, or our Ruin. After final blows, it's going to restore us health until we rejoin combat. This means we get that kill, slide for cover, load it up, heal it up, and then go out and find more trouble. If you can't get to cover, just pop that barricade, and you can kind of work this a little bit like a makeshift alpha loopy. We're always going to have barricade energy as we're running that elemental benevolence, so thanks to the Precious, whenever we grant our allies an elemental buff, aka restoration, we're given back class ability energy. But it's going to be the 4-piece perk that really sold me on this armor set. The Dawning armor buffs lean towards handling and reload, whereas the Disaster buffs our range, stability and reload. And it does so for a longer period of time. Particularly when it comes to the Tommies, that stability bonus is nice. Without it, the Tommies kind of rattles around like a sex toy in a loose fanny. Now we might not be running those big ignition fragments, but we're still going to be rocking Ashes. This is going to allow us to apply a further 50% Scorch stacks to our targets, buffing both our weapons, abilities and artifact toys. Now as we're rocking that Precious Scars exotic helmet, a lot of this build is going to be focused on being the team medic. We already get that overshield, but thanks to Ember of Mercy, when we revive an ally, both ourselves and nearby allies gain restoration. But even more importantly, when we pick up one of those fire sprites, it's going to grant us restoration. Meaning if we can't quite get that kill, there's literally a battlefield of heals littered around us. And this is the case for both fire sprites that we create and our allies create. Every fire sprite we pick up is going to extend our timer by 2 seconds, and if we revive an ally, it's going to extend it by 5 seconds. Restoration currently maxes out at 15 seconds, but we're going to build on a way to loot this for maximum survivability with our kit. We're using Ember of Imperium, so our solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to us. This means we can chain both that radiant and restoration out to that 15-second timer. And now that we've always got radiant rocking, that means radiant shrapnel is always going to be active, flying out more of those scorched fireflies. The timer is going to be extended based on the tier of the enemy, with little low rank adds like our Thrall giving us a 2-second bonus, and big boys like our yellow bars giving us a 6-second bonus. I've equipped Ember of Tempering, so our solar weapon final blows grant us and allies increased health for a short duration. This stacks up to 3 times. Every level is plus 20 health, meaning that we can chain a bonus 60 health. On my kit, I'm rocking 100 health when this is active, meaning we're going to get that maximum 70 HP per orc pickup. Additionally, when tempering is active, we got better AE on our weapons, but most importantly, our solar final blows are going to create fire sprite. Now this isn't strictly mandatory this season, as we do have that artifact combo of elemental coalitions with refreshed threads, feeding us tons of fire sprites with all that bonus ability energy as well. But like I said, I like that bonus health stat, and this kit is really strong, so I wanted to make sure I future-proofed it. My last fragment is going to be Benevolence, so whenever we apply Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to our allies, we're going to gain increased Grenade, Melee, and class ability Regeneration for a short duration. And as our precious scars are just like spitting it out constantly for us, this gives us a bonus 300% ability regeneration. Now feel free to use whatever grenade you want. I've been using the healing aid though, so I can heal my allies outside of that 15 meter range, as I am playing the role of team medic. I got the throwing hammer equipped to give us access to cure, but realistically we're using that beefier melee of consecration to jump up to get down with that slam, incinerating all that load below us. Then between the recharge rate given to us by Benevolence, refresh in the artifact, and that Soul Invictus solar aspect, we're going to have plenty of them. Sunspots are saucy. Any of our solar final blows can create them. Our super final blows, abilities, little scorched fireflies can create them. We stand in these, we get our abilities back faster, and our super is going to drain more slowly. These additionally scorched foes, leading to easier chain kills for our Tommies, with even more pockets of restoration fluent across the battlefield. Now I'm going to use one heavy-handed mod to make orbs off our melee kills, with one hands-on mod to give us bonus super energy back off our melee kills. I have been favouring the Hammer Assault on this kit, as it does ag clear slightly better, and that's really where this kit's going to shine, in run and gun activities with fire team. Now feel free to pause here for all my mods, fragments and artifacts, but there will be a dim link in the description down below. Now I'm sure a lot of you guys have been using the Tommy's Matchbook since Edge of Fate launched, but I would bet money on it that this is a better way of running it. So get yourselves into the Crucible, get yourself some Disaster Corps armor, delete that Lorely, equip Golem's Precious, and set the world ablaze while signing your fire team up for Obamacare. Make sure to thumb it if you dug it, sub if you're new, and as always, tippy time my damies, what a time.